Okay, hello everyone and welcome to another balance analysis video. We recently got a balance patch on the 13th or 12th of September, depending upon your time zone. And let's go through these a little bit. Alright, so we first changed Liang drone is now 50 Tiberium up from 40. Liang at 60 was not that good, and Liang at 40 was too good. So I think 50 is a great middle ground to try it out, see if it's too strong still, see if it's too weak. But yeah, Liang's ability to heal both like tech units become indestructible with Liang. You can gain a ton of Tiberium value by healing up things like tanks and pit bulls. It's insane with MGs, and of course the most powerful thing that Liang does is steals pads. It's very quick. It's very quick to deploy. It has no deploy time, and then you can put it on a pad and take control of the pad. So yeah. Liang was definitely too strong. It was the best GDI commander. I don't think it was even that close, really. Maybe close with strong arm, but yeah, Liang was just the best. People were playing Liang with nothing to heal. They were just playing Liang as a pad stealer, so that was obviously too good. But like I say, at 60, it wasn't seeing much play, so I think 50 is a safe middle ground. I have to wait and see how it goes, but yeah, obviously, a good change. Liang was too strong, needed a nerf. Drone Swarm movement speed increased from 6.9 to 8. So Drone Swarm used to be fastest, which is like 9 point something. I think Venom, we can check Venom speed. Yeah, it used to be 9.2, which is fastest. And they were too good. They put them down to 6.9, and they became kind of not that good, like not really worth playing. Didn't really see them anymore. Almost everyone was opting for Talon instead. So again, nice safe middle ground. Big fan of this change. Hopefully this will give GDI a little bit more power, because obviously GDI has been weak lately. Not has been the stronger faction for quite a long time now. It was getting ridiculous. So GDI needs a little bit of help. But yeah, I like this change. Good change. Grenadier increased projectile speed by 25%. I think this is a great change. The biggest problem with Grenadiers is the vehicles just drive away from them, and the Grenadier doesn't get to attack very much. This will let them apply the EMP sooner, which means that the vehicle will have to stay in range for longer, because it just won't be able to get out as fast. I don't know how this will actually work in game. I haven't tried them yet, but this is definitely a great change. It doesn't affect the combat stats, but it will hopefully make them more powerful at doing their job, which is actually killing vehicles. Mammoth Tank lost 600 hit points. I don't think Mammoth Tank was overpowered. I think Mammoth Tank was... It was just a clock. Like, if your opponent was playing Mammoth Tank, it was a clock. You had to win the game before the Mammoth came out. If the Mammoth came out and they supported it properly, you usually lose. I don't know if this 600 hit point nerf will even change that fact, but if you're investing your whole game plan into making a Mammoth Tank, and Mammoth Tank doesn't win you the game, then Mammoth Tank is terrible and you should never play it. That's the only reason to play Mammoth Tank, is if it's going to be that win condition. So if this makes it possible to quite easily kill Mammoth Tanks after they're out, then Mammoth Tank is just dead. So I don't like this change very much. I think Mammoth Tank wasn't overpowered. I don't think Mammoth Tank needed a nerf. Pretty disappointed Mammoth Tank got a nerf, but... You know, I know a lot of people were struggling with Mammoth Tank, and Mammoth Tank was king of the tech units. Like, Mammoth Tank is bad for the same reason most tech is bad, which is the game often ends before tech actually makes an impact on the game. Mammoth was one of the few tech units that actually took over the game once it came out completely. We'll have to wait and see if it still does. But yeah, this not a great fan of the change, but whatever. I can see why it's happened. You do have to play you have to know exactly how to play the game to beat the double harvester decks. But most people struggle with that. Most people struggle with charging the missiles from like second 5 or whatever and firing the missiles before tech takes over the game. So I can see how people would struggle with Mammoth, because it also just beats up on all the other tech units pretty much. So I can see why Mammoth was complained about, and this is probably a change for people who were struggling with tech in general. And Mammoth was the king of the tech. So yeah, it's a fine change. A little bit sad, makes tech a little bit less playable, but not the worst. Slingshot health decrease. 300 hit points loss on Slingshot. I think this is a good change. Slingshot is pretty insane. If you guys have tried Slingshot, this thing is like pretty broken. It kind of shuts down all air. It's pretty stupid. You can't really nerf its stats, like its damage though, because if it starts losing to air units, then it's completely useless. Like if it doesn't beat like a Mohawk, then what's the point? Like why would you ever make it? Because its only job is killing air. So it needs to be able to defeat air reasonably well. But it's a 2-range unit, so you should have to protect it. If you can get to it, it should die quickly. So yeah, I like this change a lot. I think this is a great way to go with this. Banshee Tiberium cost from 50 to 60. Not a great fan of this change. Banshee at 50 was maybe a little too good. I don't think Banshee was the problem. I think the Banshee Venom combo was the problem. And I think the Venom was too good. Because Venom just destroyed missiles and lasers. Which meant that you had nothing that could hard counter the Banshee anymore. Because Banshee shoots ground and air. So the only thing that countered it was infantry. And Venom was just killing all the infantry for free. So I think Venom was the problem, not Banshee. But the Venom-Banshee combo was too strong. I can see why they'd make this change. It's a fine change. Like, Banshee will still be playable. I think it'll be kind of weak. It used to be kind of weak. I think it'll be kind of weak again. You play Banshee because there just isn't another choice. Like, you have no other ground-to-air unit you can realistically play. You can play laser drones now. I think laser drones are a lot better with the Pitbull nerfs. But again, Slingshot now exists, so that makes them embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, not a huge fan of this, but I can see why they did it. Going to 50 obviously didn't work out great. So, yeah. Probably a fine change. The whole, like, Nod aggro deck was too strong, so... And again, like, Nod needs to be nerfed and GDI needs help, so just, like, giving some hits to Nod makes sense to me. Chemical Buggy decreased from 80 to 72. Huge fan. Huge fan. I don't think this is enough. We'll have to wait and see. This is quite a small nerf. This is a 10% nerf to its damage, and no changes to the cloud. So half the DPS from a Chem Buggy comes from the cloud anyway. So this is kind of like a 5% DPS nerf. And then a lot of the time you duck in, put a cloud down, and then duck out again. So actually a lot of your damage was coming from the cloud, rather than the actual damage. I mean, I think Chem Buggy is an insane unit. Like, you can clean up like 4 or 5 units in about 10 seconds. There's no other unit in the game that can quickly wipe out that much stuff. And, like, even Flamers and Shocks went down quickly, and they're expensive. Like, you basically can't play Flamers and Shocks because Venom and Chem Buggy have been too strong for so long. So, yeah, all of the nerfs to, like, tanks and pitbulls and stuff has made Chem Buggy more dominant because there's just less things that hunt them down effectively. So I like this change. I like this change a lot. Those of you who watch my stream will see I complain about Chem Buggy a lot. I think it's an obscene unit. I use it a lot as well because it's just broken, I think. But hopefully this is a step in the right direction. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it'll be too much. Maybe it won't be enough. It's hard to say at this point, but I think this is the right direction. I think going down for Chem Buggy is better than going up. Fnatic vehicle damage, thank God for that. Fanatics are so dumb. Fanatics are so dumb. They kill they cost 30, they kill everything that's cheaper than them, and everything that costs the same as them, and a few things that are more expensive than them. There is no unit in the game that costs 30 or less that does not lose 1v1 to Fanatics, except air units that they just can't shoot at. They kill wheels, they kill dogs, they kill bikes, they kill pitbulls, they kill rhinos and buggies. Like, these things are stupid, man. You get 2 of these together, they'll beat an APC. How is that reasonable? These guys are anti-infantry specialists, they're supposed to be, and 2 of them together can beat an APC, which is an 80 cost anti-infantry vehicle. Yeah, man, Fanatics are super dumb. And then on top of that, they just randomly give boosts. Like, you can give a boost to a Scorpion tank. It's like a Jackson boost when 1 model dies. You can, like, Jackson boost your Banshee when 1 model dies. Fanatics are insane. The reason Fanatics never get nerfed is that they have a low win rate, because people don't know how to play them. They're very, very high skill. People use them like they're 30 cost militants, which means that they're terrible. If you use them like a 30 cost militant, you're just spending way too much money on a unit that does not perform that well in like a 1v1 scenario. The whole point of these things is the boost. But yeah, I think these guys were super dumb. I really like this change. I wish they'd gone further. I wish they'd just gutted the vehicle damage. Fanatics have high vehicle damage because the idea is you're supposed to not be able to ignore them, because you have to kill them because they do damage to everything, and then the boost happens. But, like, this is a game about holding position on the map, so it's impossible not to kill your opponent's units. You can't just ignore an enemy unit forever. It's just not realistic, so I don't think that logic works. I wish it had been gutted more, but, yeah. It's a step in the right direction, so I'll take it. Venom's speed decreased. Not a big fan of this. I think that Venom's speed is one of its, like, major components. It's one of its identifying features. But Venom definitely needed a nerf. I don't know why it ever got the damage increase that it got. It went from like 120 to 150 DPS. I don't think that was necessary. I think it was already good at 120. I would have preferred to see a damage nerf. But I spoke to Nivmet about this, and he says that previously at their lower damage, the matchup with with lasers and missiles was being determined by whether or not the lasers and missiles were facing the Venom as it comes in. Like, if they're on defense and they're facing away, they would lose, but if they were facing towards it, they would win. Like, the turn time affected the matchup. Apparently, that's why they couldn't reduce the DPS again. So they've gone for speed instead. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's what they say. I'm willing to believe it if that's what they say, but I don't know, man. I think like a DPS nerf would have been way better, but Speed nerf is fine. It needed a nerf. I don't like that it's a speed nerf, but it does need a nerf, so this is a nerf. So yeah, sure, why not? Scavenger move speed decreased from 6.9 to 5.4. Okay, so scavengers are pretty gross, man, but like they're really level dependent because they have much worse breakpoints than lasers and missiles because they have worse damage. So they perform pretty much the same at equal levels, but with the income, and they were faster, so they were just like kind of insane at equal levels. But on ladder, they weren't very good because if you were down like even one level, it could affect a ton of matchups. So you needed like level 14 or 15 scavengers to play them at the top, like to play them in Tiberium. So I think they needed a nerf. I think they were too strong. I saw a lot of tournaments where everyone played scavengers. Like, I mean a lot of tournaments where everyone just played scavenger decks because they were just so strong at equal levels. Like, you see people go rifle, scavenger against their opponent's rifles. Like, the only thing on the field is infantry and you're still making a scavenger. That's an insane unit. If you're willing to make something that just doesn't counter your opponent's units at all, just to get the passive, that's a strong unit. That needed a nerf. Not sure move speed is great. Move speed is what made them feel good. Like, the fact they were so much faster. Like, lasers feel bad because they are so slow. And their redeeming feature is their cheap cost. Scavengers felt good because they were fast and they made you money. This might be too much. We'll have to wait and see. Whenever you reduce something's speed, it always feels awful compared to how it used to feel. So we need to let it settle down. People need to play with scavengers for a while before making up their mind, because it's obviously gonna feel awful compared to how it used to feel. Because like it's slower, it just feels way clunkier. But you need to wait and actually see how things shape up. This might be too much. It might not be enough. I think it's probably gonna end up being too much. Their in-game speed is now listed as slow. I think they should be average. I don't know. I don't know what the exact speed values are, but I feel like they should be at the same speed as lasers and missiles rather than slower than them. I've done some testing and they almost exactly the same speed, but I think scavengers are slightly slower. So maybe they need like a tiny speed buff up to like speed of lasers or slightly faster than lasers. I don't know. But scavengers were really strong. This might substantially reduce their value in game. And finally, Kane Obelisk goes from 4,000 to 500 hit points. Yeah, I mean, Kane sucks. Kane is like the most iconic character in CNC, and he's just terrible. He's been good for like 1 month or something when he was overpowered because he had a bug where he had way too many hit points on the Obelisk, like 12,000 or something insane, and he was good then. Otherwise, he's just always been terrible. So I love to see a Kane buff. I don't think this will be enough, like 25% hit point buff. I don't think this is going to make that much difference. But it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully they just keep buffing Kane until he becomes actually playable. Alright, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the overreaching changes to the metagame this should have, in my opinion. So we'll take a very quick look at this. I think Liang will see the same amount of play. I think he was just too strong. I think it won't change things. People who played Liang will still play Liang. He'll just be slightly weaker, which is good. So we won't see much change here. We'll still see the same amount of Liang. Some people might move to Strong Arm, but that'll be it. I think we'll mostly just see the same amount of Liang. It'll just be slightly weaker than it was. Drone Swarm, this one I think is huge. This is one of the biggest changes. This one I think will return the Drone Swarm Orca deck to prominence, which was very, very powerful when Drone Swarms got nerfed. That deck is really like the APC deck. That deck was really strong against Nod because Drone Swarm Orca is really hard for Nod to deal with. That combined with the Banshee cost nerf makes it even harder for Nod to tech switch into anti-air to deal with it. So I think that deck's going to make a huge comeback. Like the Suzaku GDI with Drone Swarm and Orca. I think that deck's going to make a massive comeback. That's going to be like the deck for GDI now. Grenadier, I think this makes almost no difference. Grenadiers will be slightly better. Won't see, well, maybe a tiny uptick in play, but not really. Mammoth Tank, we'll see a small downtick in Mammoth play, but not a huge amount, I think. Pretty sure Mammoth will still beat all the stuff it beat. It'll still lose to the stuff it lost to. We'll see a small downtick in Mammoth play, but not much. Slingshots, I don't think this will change anything. If you're playing a Slingshot, you'll play a Slingshot. Maybe people will move to Pitbull slightly, but I think if you're a Slingshot deck, you'll still play Slingshot. I don't think it'll make much difference. This will be huge. This is a big change. This will make the this Banshee nerf plus the Venom nerf will massively reduce the power level of Nod 222, which is Rifle, Laser, Bike, Scorpion, Venom, Banshee. That deck was basically just rolling off Venom Banshee half the time. Like, you didn't even need your War Factory a lot of the time. You're just playing Venom Banshee to kill everything. That obviously is not possible anymore with the Venom and the Banshee nerf. So I think we're going to see a big return to wheels and maybe more people playing Phantoms, maybe some more Infernos instead of Banshees. But I think we're going to see a lot more Wheels and less Venom Banshee combo. Because, yeah, that combo's been nerfed. So, yeah, less Nod Air is going to be around. Which also maybe reduces the amount of slingshots, but probably not. So, yeah, less Nod Air. Chem Buggy nerf and Fnatic nerf, I think, will have no impact. Everyone who played Fanatics will still play Fanatics. This will do nothing. People who are good with Fanatics will still destroy with them. Most people still can't play Fanatics. I can't even play Fanatics. Like, they're so hard to play properly. There's only like 5 guys in the game who know how to use them, but in their hands, they're disgusting. That will stay the same. Chem Buggy nerf, I don't think this is going to make a big difference. I think people will... There'll be a slight downtick in Chem Buggy usage as people say this feels bad, but actually it'll just be them thinking it's bad, but I don't think it'll make that much difference. Scavenger moves, this will be huge. A lot of people are going to drop scavengers like hot potato because they're just going to feel terrible. They might go back to them after a couple of weeks when it settles down, but yeah, Scavenger is going to absolutely disappear as people feel like this is terrible. The same thing that happened with Pitbull. When Pitbull got its big nerf from the initial attack delay, people just dropped Pitbull and started playing slingshots. And then after a couple of weeks, everyone was like, actually, you know what, I'm going back to Pitbull because Pitbull's still a great unit. But maybe people will go back to Scavenger. I'm not convinced. It's going to feel so much worse using them. And also the Chem Buggy Scavenger combo was very popular and they both got nerfed. So I could see a lot of decks that played this, like the Noid Hex deck and Less QQ's deck. Those guys are going to probably look to change their deck up because it's going to feel so much worse right now. They might go back to their decks after a while, but I think we're going to see a lot more lasers and a lot less scavengers whilst people adjust to this change. And Kayn, we'll see a little bit of Kayn. People are going to try Kayn, realize it still sucks, and then they're going to drop Kayn again. So yeah, that's my predictions for this patch. I think we're going to see almost no change to Liang. We're going to see Drone Swarm Orca deck come back. Tiny Mammoth decrease, tiny Slingshot decrease. Huge decrease to the Nod aggro deck that plays Venom and Banshee. Everyone's gonna play different decks. And huge decrease to anyone who is playing a Scavenger Chem Buggy deck. Those are gonna disappear for a while until people get used to it. And yeah, I think those are the main meta changes we're gonna see. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully we continue to get balance patches. I'm not really sure who's in charge of balance now. I know Niv isn't really on it anymore. Niv did have a hand in this patch, he's told me, but I know Niv is no longer going to be working on it, and there's going to apparently be a new guy. Don't know who he is, don't know anything about them, so we'll wait and see. But here is a patch, so, you know, that's a good sign. Hopefully we'll see more in the future. Alright guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.